Afternoon. I'm Ronnie Conway. I'm the principal lawyer and the solicitor advocate at the Conway Accident Law Practice, and I have with me today Pauline Sullivan. Now, Pauline had the misfortune to be involved in quite a serious slipping accident in November 2016. And what happened, I'll just tell you briefly with Pauline, is that she was walking through Dunn's store in the Trist, Cumbernauld. It was a very wet day, and the floor in Dunn's is perfectly safe when dry, but it is treacherous when wet. And unfortunately for Pauline, she slipped and fell on an area where there was no proper matting. I'm not going to talk about the legalities of the case, but I want to ask Pauline her experience of dealing with the legal system and whether she thinks it worked for her. So Pauline, first of all, if you could tell me just a little about what happened to you that afternoon.
I was at work, finished work, and I was making my way home. Dunstores was it was a right away to the car park. As I was walking through the store, I slipped and fell, dislocating my knee and rupturing some ligaments in my knee.
I think it ended up being quite a serious injury for you. How long were you lying on the floor for?
I was lying on the floor quite a while. I had to wait on paramedics come in. They had to then reposition my leg while still in the store, and I was there for about an hour.
And what level of pain did you have at this point?
It was excruciating at that point.
Yeah. And you say that the paramedics repositioned your leg. I think they manipulated it back into place. Is that correct?
They manipulated my ankle in the store and repositioned my knee later on.
Okay. And you were taken to hospital. I think first of all you went to the Monklands, is that right?
That's right, I went there by ambulance. I was taken to Monklands Hospital where I had an operation that night to reposition my knee.
And I think that you were in the Monklands for about 4 or 5 days or so.
Yeah, I was in there for 5 days.
And where did you go after that?
Glasgow Royal Infirmary for a further operation on my ligaments in my knee.
And after you came out from hospital, after you were discharged, Pauline, how did you find it at home as far as things like mobility and getting about were concerned?
It was terrible. I was non-weight bearing for the first while, so I couldn't do anything for myself. I had to rely on my parents for help. I couldn't do anything for my wee girl. I had to rely on them taking her to school, clubs, lots of different things, so there was no mobility for the first part.
Right. And I think you were off work for about 5 or 6 months or so?
Yeah, I returned to work about 5.5 months after the accident.
And you gradually made a recovery, I think, Pauline, it's fair to say. You had physiotherapy, you were given an exercise programme. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was the exercise programme and the physiotherapy definitely did help. It was a long road, especially the time of year. It was November it happened, so the run right through Christmas and everything like that was I was particularly immobile. With the different exercises and physiotherapy, it came back slowly but surely.
And are you back to what you were before, do you think?
No, not quite. I've been left with a limp. It's slight, but it's more noticeable to my friends.
Now, I want to ask you now, Pauline, about your experience of the legal system. Did you go to lawyers first of all to put in a claim?
Yes, initially I contacted lawyers through my union at work.
And how did that work out for you?
Not very well. What happened was they tried to contact Dunn's stores on numerous occasions to ask them for CCTV. They weren't very forthcoming with the CCTV, so I was advised by the lawyers just to leave it.
And did you go to other lawyers at all for a second opinion?
I went to another lawyer who they wanted me to try and obtain the CCTV footage, which I didn't think was practical, so I didn't proceed with that.
And how did you find out about the Conway Accident Law Practice?
It was through a friend. she happened to be at a wedding where she met Liz, one of the litigation specialists with Conway Accident Law, and she said she would be willing to speak to yourself and put me in touch.
And I think, to cut a long story short, Conway's managed to get the CCTV footage for you. And if I can say, if there are any legal practitioners out there, we did not request the CCTV footage, we demanded it. It was subject data in terms of the Data Protection Act. We had to write to Duns on 3 or 4 separate occasions, finally threatening them with a report to the Information Commissioner, and that coughed up the footage, and it was absolutely critical. Moving on then, Pauline, did Conway's manage to settle the case for you without raising proceedings?
No, there was court proceedings raised on my behalf.
And did you have to go to court?
Yes, I did.
Were there no offers of settlement made to you before the court hearing?
There was a couple of offers just before the court hearing, but I was advised not to accept the offers.
Yeah. And how did you feel about going to court?
I was nervous. I wasn't sure what to expect. It's not a place that I've ever frequented, so I was a bit nervous about the whole legal system and sitting in court and telling my side of the story.
And in the eventuality, how did it work out for you? How did you feel about it?
I was pretty nervous, but a few meetings with Ronnie put our minds at ease. He told me what to expect, what sort of questions would be asked, and I was prepared for my day in court.
Can I ask then, well, in fact, you won your case, Pauline, and you got quite a substantial amount of money. I think that's a fair comment. I'm not going to go into any further details at this point in time. But how would you classify your experience of the Scottish justice system? Do you think you got justice for your injury at the end of the day?
Definitely did.
And would you have any advice for anyone out there who might be in a similar position?
Don't be scared. You have to fight your corner, and if you don't take what you don't think that you're entitled to, you have to be prepared, and if that means going to court, go to court.
Yes. Well, thank you, Pauline. I'm going to wrap this up. I just want to make 2 points. First of all, Pauline won her case. I can't guarantee you that we can win your case. No lawyer can give you that guarantee, and if someone pretends to give you that guarantee, run a mile, because they are a fraud. But what I can assure you is that we will act with the same degree of attention, courtesy and respect that we did in Pauline's case. And the other point I would want to make is, people do not say hearing is believing, people say seeing is believing. And the critical pivot on which Pauline's case turned was the CCTV footage, which was shown to the judge in court. So for any practitioners out there, make determined efforts to get it, and get it as quickly as possible. Very many companies, unlike Duns, wipe the footage after 28 days. So get off your marks on it.